Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make is a sheet cake, a half a sheet cake, and it's going to be chocolate. Now, if you don't like this particular recipe, I have over 20 half sheet cakes in white, in golden sheet cakes, or yellow sheet cakes, if you prefer to call it that. I have several chocolate. I have red velvet. I can't even think of how many. I have fresh pear half sheet cakes. I mean, I have 20, over 20. So if you don't like this recipe, please check out my channel for half sheet cakes, depending on whatever flavor you're looking for. I even have, now that I'm thinking of it, I even have lemon on there. I've got a lot, and 20 is hard to remember. But anyway, let's talk about the pan first. You need a half a sheet cake. This is a 2-inch pan. It's 12 by 18. 12 by 18 by 2, because I always get that question. So I want to, tell you right off the bat. I heavily greased it. You decide however you want to do that, and then I lightly dusted it with flour. So that's the pan I'm using to make this chocolate sheet cake. Now, another thing about this recipe, it does use corn syrup, and I know that not everyone is a fan of corn syrup. So again, maybe this recipe isn't for you. Maybe one of my other chocolate half sheet cakes that's made with different ingredients will be what you're looking for. But this is a good one, even though there is corn syrup in it. Now I'm going to try to go over the directions very clearly for you, and wait a few seconds in between in case you want to jot it down, because I no longer put the recipes on my below the video anymore, and I'll explain when time comes. But what I did was I started ahead of time to actually start this cake, because I didn't want the video to be too long or too boring for you. So what I did already is I put 4 cups of corn syrup, okay, whatever brand that you want, 4 cups. I also put in 1 cup of solid shortening in it, whatever brand that you have or you prefer, 1 cup of shortening. And 1 cup of butter that I had at room temperature, cut it into small pieces, and I creamed it all together. So again, the 4 cups of corn syrup, the 1 cup of solid shortening, and the 1 cup of butter at room temperature that I went ahead and I started to beat it and cream it together. Now I'm going to turn my mixer on, and I'm always going to warn you about the sound, because some people find it's too loud. So I'm going to turn it on. I just want to show you the mixture so far, but it's been sitting just a little bit by the time I set up the camera and whatever. Okay, now in blending this, do take your time. It might take you 4 minutes. It might take you 5. It depends on your mixer, the speed that you've chosen. A cake this large, though, I would definitely suggest a stand-up mixer. But anyway, you can see how creamy and smooth it is. So don't skimp on the time that it takes to cream those ingredients together, okay? And you want it to be so there's no lumps or bumps, and you want it to be very creamy and very smooth. And it took me about 4.5 minutes to do that. Okay. The next thing that we're going to be putting in is eggs, and you will need 9 eggs, and at room temperature, and I slightly beat them so that it'll combine better, and then I'm going to start slowly beating that in. Now, once you do that, spend another couple minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm going to turn up the speed just a little bit to move things along, so I'm going to warn you about the sound. once again, spend that 2 minutes, spend that 3 minutes. This cake is well worth it, especially if you're making it for a church social, for a graduation party, a bridal shower, a wedding, a get-together, a birthday, whatever. It's well worth the time that you spend on this. It really is. The next thing that I'm going to be putting in is granulated sugar. And you need 3 3/4 cups of granulated sugar. 3 3/4, and I put a little at a time. At about medium speed. Now again, take the time to get that really mixed well. And I move it along usually because of the video. Now I'm going to turn up the speed just a little bit because I've got to get to the bottom because I can feel that granulated sugar there. So we've got to get that beaten and blended. Again, the time that it takes. I like to put my towel over there so that if it does splatter a little bit, it's not going to go all over the kitchen, that kind of thing. But again, you want to beat this well. You don't have to overbeat it, but you do want to combine it so that it is silky and it is smooth, okay? All right. The next thing we're going to be putting in is vanilla. So you're going to be needing, let's see, I just forgot for a second here how many I need of vanilla. And it is 3, no, I'm sorry, forgive me, I misspoke. 4 1/2 teaspoons. 4 1/2, sorry about that. My mind wandered a little bit. Just blend that 4 1/2 teaspoons in vanilla. The next thing, of course, is you're going to need chocolate, unsweetened chocolate. And you're going to need on this 12 ounces. Now, if you're buying the package and you easily can melt it in your microwave in a bowl, or you can use your unsweetened cocoa to your whatever type of oil. And in fact, to make an ounce of this, you can use 3 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa to 1 tablespoon of your favorite type of oil to make it. But of course, do the math because you need 12. You need 12 ounces of this unsweetened chocolate. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start putting that in slowly and mixing it to make the chocolate batter. And that was 12 ounces of unsweetened. No sugar is in this. Now I'm just going to kind of scoop up the rest of it out of the bowl here. But you don't want to waste product. You know, these cakes are not only you're spending a lot of time making them, but you're spending money while you're doing it. So why waste a drop? Okay, had a little bit of spillage there. Okay, now I'm going to turn this up. Before I do that, I'm going to really clean the sides here where the product kind of came up and get to the bottom a little bit, and then I'm going to turn that on. So I'm going to warn you about the sound once again. And now I'm going to raise my speed a little bit. course won't have to raise your speed as high as I did, but I'm doing it to move it along for the video, okay? And again, spend the time necessary to get that all nice and blended, okay? And I hope you can see that stream of that beautiful chocolate. Oh, it smells so good. When you bake this cake, the whole kitchen smells so good. And if you like chocolate, I think you're gonna like this cake. I really do. Well, anyway, let's start talking about all the dry ingredients. As you see, we're using a lot of ingredients to make this beautiful chocolate cake. You're gonna start off, you're gonna need all-purpose flour. And you're going to need 6 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, okay? You're also going to be putting in cornstarch. Yes, I did say cornstarch. 1 cup. I really feel that the cornstarch is what makes this cake so light, so delicate. The texture is just unbelievable. I love large cakes that are made with cornstarch. And in fact, my yellow batter, one of my yellow batter cakes, I think, oh my gosh, I think it's, maybe a misquote, but I think it's over a couple 100,000 people have looked at it and or tried it. I don't know how many, but with cornstarch, and I just love the texture. Not that the other ones and other cakes aren't great that you make, but I particularly love cornstarch in a cake recipe. So anyway, 1 cup of cornstarch. You're also going to put in 3 3/4 cups of baking soda. And what I just realized, I had a helper today, and she gave me powder instead of soda. So I'm going to have to walk away for a second. And replace that, but that's okay because I caught it. Okay, and of the soda we needed 3 3/4, so we'll put 1, 2, 3 teaspoons, and then we'll grab the half here. And then 1/4. So 3 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And I put it right into that cornstarch, and we'll get rid of that baking powder. Of course, use that for another recipe. All right. And then you're also going to put 3 teaspoons of salt. And I'm going to put that together. And then, give this a little bit of a stir. Now, generally, I put these together and whisk it, but I really didn't grab a big enough bowl. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start putting in some of this flour. Then I'm going to mix it and make some room. So we're just going to do that right now. I'm just going to start putting some of this flour in here. Just enough that I can take this. Whoops. A little bit of spillage there. Okay. All right. And then just with my whisk. Again, I needed a bigger bowl, but just that didn't happen. So we go with the flow, right? Okay. Now I'm going to start mixing that in slowly. Stir this in a little bit with my spoon. And then I'm going to add a little bit more as we go along, and I'm going to be patient. Okay, now I've got a good stir going on that. And you're going to be blending milk along with it. And you're going to need 3 cups of milk. Alright, so you can see I'm just so far just adding the dry a little at a time. I'm going to raise my speed a little bit. Whoops, no, it's going to get sloppy if I do that. I don't want that. And at this time I'm going to start adding a little bit of milk. clean my work area here a little bit. And then we're going to just stay again with the dry at a lower speed because this is a pretty big batch. And a little bit of milk. And we'll continue to do that till we get this all in there. And again, this is going to take you a little bit of time. And again, you can really see why you need a stand-up mixer for this recipe. And we'll add some milk, let it bringing that together. I think at this time I'm gonna just get into those sides a little bit because we're getting close to the top there. All right, and let's put it back on and keep mixing that milk in. Okay, that's the rest of the milk. I just wanted to rinse my hands a little bit there. And now I'm going to try to increase my speed a little bit. Going to take you the most amount of time because you can see I'm got a lot of product and I can't go too fast because I don't want it to spill over, okay? So again, take your time at a lower speed. I'm just going to try to raise it right now so I can move it along so I don't continue to keep you too long or bore you. And I really appreciate that you're hanging in there if you're still with me. Okay. Now, what I do want to tell you as I grab my pan, because we're going to start slowly putting that in. Now, you're going to bake this cake at 325 degrees, and it could take you anywhere from 50 to 60 minutes. It really depends on your oven because as you know, all ovens set up so differently, okay? And I start checking mine about 48 minutes or so. Use your toothpick or your cake tester or whatever that you prefer, okay? Now, I do want to warn you that this batch is a little bit big for the half a sheet. So, you're going to have about 8 cupcakes, enough to make 8 cupcakes when you're done with it. This recipe was actually tweaked by a recipe of my mom's. And she always made those 8 cupcakes and extra. And it's about 1/4 cup. I think, you know, I mean, I'm not super precise on that, but about 1/4 cup to bake 8 additional cupcakes. Now, if you ask me, gee, well, how much is that going to be in whatever type of pan? I don't know. I've just always made cupcakes with the extra batter, which is about 2 cups. you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this one last spin, take it out, give it a good stir, and then I am going to remove 2 cups of the batter. Okay, so I'm going to grab that milk bowl. So let's give it a whirl. Okay, now don't get me wrong, you don't want to overbeat this recipe. Okay, now I'm having trouble with my paddle here. Okay, well, I'm going to just start to take out that 2 cups, and I will grab a cup, and it doesn't have to be, you know, exact. Okay, let's take out another one, but pretty close to 2 cups. Okay, and we'll set that aside for the moment. All right, now let me work on that paddle. There we go. Gives me a little bit more room, and we'll take off the excess as best as we can. All right, let's remove this bowl. We'll get that out of our way, and then I want to just give it a good turn, make sure that bottom, and for you, if you find it wasn't beaten well enough, then put it back on and get that beater back in and beat it, okay? Now, of course, the next thing is to pour the batter in your pan. Even it out as best as you can on the edges. Okay, there we go. Okay, and let's get, there we go. Okay. Okay. Again, 350 degree, not 350, I'm sorry, 325 for that 50 to 60 minutes, okay? All right, now what I want to do is to show you one that's been baked up. Okay. And just want to clean that area a little bit. And this is how it will come out. It'll have a nice golden brown to it. It will be a very moist, a very light cake. I really do think it's because of that cornstarch that I told you about. And let's cut into it. Okay. Now these cakes really freeze nicely. They really do, okay? You will find this cake to be very light, not real dense and not real heavy, but you'll have a wonderful taste of that chocolate. Oh, they are just delicious. They're moist. It's a moist cake. And like I said, for whatever occasion that you're baking it for, I think you'll enjoy it. I really do. And if you don't like this particular cake, again, I have, I think, over 20 other half-sheet cakes, various flavors. So, again, sorry about not putting that recipe below the video. I'm not alone on that, and I'm even sorry to bore you with it. I'm not alone on it, but I got very tired of seeing my work posted, pinned, taken it, claimed as others' property, and people write to me. You have a question or you have a comment or something, and I see it on other sites and I can't answer you, and it's so frustrating. So I guess I want to just tell you to please know that I only put my videos on YouTube. So if you have a question or you've tried this recipe and you liked it, I love to hear from you. So please watch me on YouTube and write to me on YouTube. I'm going to get your question, I'm going to get your comment, and I will do my very best to answer it in a timely fashion. I really will. So if you try this recipe and you like it, again, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. If you're so inclined, you'd like to subscribe to my channel where I do have cookies and cakes and breads and pizza doughs. I think you're going to find some recipes that are keepers for you. And if you'd like to ring the bell or give the video just a like, I can't tell you how much I'd appreciate that. So thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And I hope you give this chocolate cake a try. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.